Good morning. Good morning. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. I know this is an odd time, but I want you guys to come on in. I haven't been live for a few days. So I wanted to come on in and share some things with you. Um, Tomorrow I'll be doing, if not tonight or later on today, I'll be doing a prophetic word for the month of November, as we close out October. But today I want to talk about closing some things. I want to talk about closing some things. So come on in. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. Let me know who's here and where you are tuning in from. Hey, Tandria, great day, beautiful. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, yes, yes. So, hey, Jackie, I miss you so much, girl. I'm going to call you. I miss you. I know I have been really probably the most off the radar that I've been in a long time. And I want you to know something. That's a good thing. And let me tell you why it's a good thing and why it's good news for you, right? So, me being off the radar has allowed me to just go through some healing things that I needed to go through and just to see some things that God is doing in this season. And so, I am super excited about what I'm going to have to share with you guys as I come out, right? But today, this was really heavy on my heart. I really wanted to talk about it. Oh, darn, I should have plugged up my charger. Y'all, I wasn't thinking when I did this. I meant to plug my charger up. Y'all see, I have Miss Madison here, Miss Maddie, Madison Normani Rain is hanging out with Big Mama today. So let me see if I can do this because there's a reason that I turned that sideways. So let me see if I can plug this phone up while I do this, y'all. So bear with me, okay? Madison and I are hanging out. I'm getting some work done. She's being grown because she is, okay? She's her own little woman. But I wanted to come on and I wanted to talk to you guys about um God, this thing is doing some crazy stuff, y'all. Hold on one second. Just please bear with me 1 second, y'all. Let me plug this up in the wall instead. Hold on. Let me lay my boo-boo down. I am being a full big mama, y'all. I need y'all to know that and loving every minute of it. Every minute. She's got her own little space in my office. She's got her own little bed. It rocks and everything. So she's got a home away from home. I'm going to kind of talk to you guys as I plug this up. So bear with me for just a minute. Bear with me for just a minute. Don't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, share this broadcast because my intention is to bless some people with this word. If you've been in a season, my God, today, there we go. If you've been in a season where it seems like some things are closing for you, then you definitely want to be on this broadcast. If you know some people that are in a season like that, you want them to be on this broadcast. You want them to get this message. So let me talk to y'all. Can we have some real talk? Because that's the only way that I know how to do it. So I want to talk to you guys about several things, right? So as I've been on this journey of my dad transitioning, my aunt transitioning, and my divorce being finalized, it has been a lot, right? So there's been a lot of other things that have been going on. One of the reasons you haven't heard from me this week is that there was a stomach virus that was in my house. So my daughter Jay had it, I had it, and now my son Makai has it. Like stomach virus. Are you kidding me? We just got back home and we got a stomach virus. Okay, this was not the plan, right? But I believe that sometimes God will shut you down. I was thinking yesterday, it's amazing what grief will do to your body. It's amazing what grief will do to your body. See, we often don't think about the physical impacts of grief and trauma, but there are physical impacts of grief and trauma. And so, what I'm watching is as these things are happening in my life and things are happening emotionally and there's stress associated with things that also there's some things that are happening in my body. And I believe there has been a purging that's been taking place because what has been happening, we've been throwing up, right? I don't think all throwing up is bad because I don't know about you, but not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, I was in a place where I just wanted to throw up. Listen, if I could just throw up, I'll be all right. If I could just get this up out of me, I'll be all right. Hey, woman of God, what's up, prophetess? Good to see you. I just wanted to throw up. I just wanted to throw up. I knew that if I threw up, I would feel better. Like it was just like I had to throw up. There were things in me that just were not sitting well, right? So I had to purge them. I had to purge them. And so it's so funny because I was talking to my daughter and I was like, girl, I just need to throw up. And so I tried to drink something to make myself throw up because what I hate doing is physically making myself gag. I don't like that, but I had to. So she said, Mom, just brush your tongue. Just brush your tongue and just brush it in the back, right? And it'll help you to throw up. Well, the good thing about that was that, it was a little mini fresh. But, I needed that release. So as you're closing out some chapters in your life, there may be some things that you have to throw up. As you're closing out some chapters of your life, there may be some things that you have to throw up, but you need to throw up. Throwing up is not a bad thing. It is a good thing. In fact, it is a sign that you're on your way to being whole, right? Throwing up is a sign that you're on your way to being whole, on your way to being healthy, okay? You've got to throw up because the stuff that's in there is not supposed to be in there like that at that time, right? So you're trying to get it out of you. Your body is saying, nah, nah, nah. I'm rejecting this. I'm rejecting this. And I believe that we're in a place in our lives where there's some things that our bodies can no longer handle. We're saying, nah, 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 I'm rejecting this. Things that in a previous season we allowed, things that in a previous season didn't make us sick, things that in a previous season seemed normal, right? But now they don't seem normal. Not only do they not seem normal, they're making us physically sick. We're physically sick because of them. So this is my suggestion to you. Some of them will be chapters in your life, right? There'll be some chapters that you're closing in your life and you're starting a new chapter. But baby, some of us are closing whole books down. Whole books. This is a volume of your life that is being shut down, put on the shelf, not for you to forget, so that you can go back and refer to it if you need to. But it's not for you to still live in that book. That volume is closed. That volume of your life is closed. I'm telling you, God is trying to close some volumes up. Y'all are thinking it's just a chapter, but God is closing a volume. He's closing the whole book. That volume of your life is closed. He's trying to help you start a new book, a new volume. I tease people all the time, and I talk about the book of Dr. V, chapter 1, verse. Well, listen, I want y'all to hear me clearly. I just believe that God is closing the book of Dr. V and opening the book of Veronica. My God, I want y'all to hear me. I believe that God is closing the book of Dr. V and opening the book of Veronica. Now, y'all may be saying, but Dr. V, aren't you Veronica? Aren't Veronica and Dr. V the same? Well, yes and no. See, Dr. V is the mechanism I developed, right? We can say it's the brand. We can say that. The brand, that's the brand. That's the brand. But Veronica is the woman. Let me say that again. Dr. V is the brand, but Veronica is the woman. The problem is, the brand took the place of the woman. Now, listen, I don't want you to think that I lost myself. I didn't. But I had a protection mechanism built around me because I want to talk about the birth of Dr. V, right? The birth of Dr. V. Dr. V was born out of being in a place where my last name had changed several times, right? My last name had changed several times. And I said, well, listen, I'm just going to be Dr. V because that never changes. So Dr. V was my protection from a name change. It was my protection from hurt. See, people deal with Dr. V differently than they deal with Veronica. People take liberties with Veronica that they wouldn't dream of taking with Dr. V, right? And so I had to put up a wall. In my mind, I had to, in order to protect myself, because I had been hurt, because I had been injured, because I'd gone through some things, right? And so there are people who knew me pre Dr. V, who, when I became Dr. V, began to call me Dr. V. Now, this is when I knew that it was serious, right? My family calls me Dr. V, right? Now, my nieces and nephews, they call me Aunt Ron. Okay. Now, that's Ron is a whole nother person. We'll talk about Ron a little bit later, right? But when I realized how deep this was, how deep it went, and how um much of a defense it had become, I had to start looking at some things differently. Listen. I remember being at a cigar bar, and this man was asking, "Oh, what's your name?" I said, "Dr. V." He said, "No, what's your name?" "Dr. V." "No, what's your real name?" "Dr. V." What I'm telling you is, I don't want you to call me nothing else. You can call me Dr. V. What is that doing? Creating a barrier, creating a block. Huh. God, I don't want you to know me like that. Now, what's funny is I have some people in my life that's what they call me, Dr. V. And I'm like, why don't you call me Veronica? You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's so crazy. So fast forward, as I've been dealing with my dad's death, as I've been dealing with going home, as I've been dealing with um celebrating my dad's life, but also dealing with family, past trauma, childhood trauma, all of these things, I've come to the realization that God wants to close a volume of my life and open a new volume. Now, the thing about that is it's scary as HELL. It's scary, right? It's scary because this is a brand new book. The pages are blank. There's nothing in it, and you don't know what it's going to be. At least in the other volume, I kind of knew. I knew who I was. I knew how to be. I knew how to show up. But this new place is a place of greater vulnerability. This new place is a place of greater revelation. This new place is a place that I've never been before. You see, I'm closing a volume, not just a chapter. I closed a chapter when I closed my marriage. I closed a chapter when my dad died. I closed a chapter when I went home and I had to deal with some things with family. I was closing chapters, but God says, I want to close the book. Will you let me close the book? How many of you are in a place where you know God is trying to close a volume of your life? He wants to close that book, that volume, right? So that he can start a whole brand new volume specifically designed for where he's taking you. A volume that has blank pages that you get to feel. A volume that allows you the opportunity to create the life that you desire, to be the person that you were originally designed and created to be. A volume that you literally are going to be able to, listen, write your story. See, the other story you wrote, but you didn't really write all of it, right? Some of it was written by your traumas of your past. Some of it was written by what you didn't get. Some of it was written by all of these things that you may or may not have had control over. But this new volume, this new book is you in a state of conscious awareness, a state of conscious awareness where you're aware of the things that happened in the past and why they happened, and why you showed up the way you did, and what your defenses were, and why you were the person that you were. Now, listen, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that as Dr. V, I was a bad person. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that there were some things that I still needed to deal with, some things that he was working on me with, and he's not done. It's not a done deal. But he says, I want to close this volume. So what did I have to do? I had to go home. I had to go home. Anybody that knows me knows that when I go home, I go in and I go out. I go in, hit a quick visit, then I head right back out. You know, and recently a friend of mine asked me why. Why? Because I was talking to one of my sons and he was like, I'm not going. And I was like, honey, you got to go home. So that's family. It's like, I wonder where I got that from. And I said, what do you mean? I went home. I went in and I went out. I was in, and before too many people knew, I was already gone, right? So a friend of mine asked me, why is that? Why is it? What is it? What is it? Why did you leave? Why did you? Oh, I left, because I went to college to get a better education. I'm first generation college graduate on both sides of my family. On my mom's side and my dad's side, I'm the first one to leave and go off to college, right? And to get a degree. I'm not the last one, but I was the first one, right? I'm proud of that. I'm the first one, right? And while that is true, I did leave to get my education. I did. I left because I knew there was more to life. I left also, though, because it hurt. I left because on both sides of my family, I had family members that always treated me like I was less than, or I felt less than when I was around them. I left because I didn't like who I was in that space. I left because I knew that there was not only more out there, that there was more to me, that there was more to me that I had to discover. And the only way I was going to discover it was to get out of the box that created these patterns that I kept seeing show up in the women in my family, to show up in my family, period. And I wanted something different, and I wanted to be something different. And I didn't know how to do that in that space, right? I left because my aunt in Nashville had introduced me to life driving on the interstate, right? I need you to understand what I'm saying to you. I can remember growing up with no indoor plumbing, not having a bathroom to use, and then being able to go to my aunt's house, who not only had a bathroom, she had a shower. She had a two-story house that they owned. They had their own business. I was exposed to something different. I was exposed to successful people, Black people who looked like me. I was exposed to art and to music, and I knew that there was more. She showed me I didn't have to be afraid. But listen, like her, it meant that I had to walk away from family. I had to walk away from people and things that I loved on a regular basis to be able to create something different. And did we get it all right? We didn't get it all right, but we knew that there was something else out there. We knew that God was calling us to more, to something different. On the way, though, it cost us. So when people look at me and they say, "Oh my God, you've done so much. How is it that you were able to do something different?" I wasn't afraid to take a chance, because I said, well, hell, can't nothing be worse than this right here. So I knew that at the worst case scenario, it couldn't be any worse than what I had experienced. And I'm not saying that I had a horrible life or a horrible childhood. I'm not saying that at all. But when you grow up in a small town full of cycles, the cycles keep showing up. They keep presenting themselves. We're like, literally, you run out of people, right? You run out of people to date, to marry, to be. Finding yourself, let me let y'all come back. Let me let y'all come back. You find yourself, listen, you look up and somebody that dated a mama dating a daughter, not that daughter, but you know what I'm saying? Like family, like it will be in the family, and it gets all twisted up and tangled up because it's a small town. Freaking already, almost everybody's related. So you find yourself in all of these situations. Listen, I've got nieces that are double nieces. I've got nieces that is a niece and a cousin. I like all of that. Like that's our family, right? I was looking at it and I looked and I said, oh my God, when I looked at the siblings, right? The siblings who married siblings or had babies by siblings and all of that cross doubles. I got a lot of double first cousins, double second cousins, like doubles. I got a cousin that's a first cousin and a second cousin, right? All of that. I said, I know that there's got to be more. But y'all, listen, I was running from and not going to. So there it is. In order for me to create the life that I really desire, I've got to close that book. But it has meant that I've had to go back and face things, have difficult conversations, experience things, acknowledge things, say some things to people. Like I've had to go back. And when I look at how everything has transpired in my life, even to my dad coming here, like, and him finishing his days out with us, like that was necessary for us to be able to close that chapter and us both know that we were good, regardless of what anybody else thought, or if they thought I should have been a better daughter or whatever they thought I should have done. My daddy knew what I was doing. And that's the thing about my dad. Listen, I can remember daddy and I having conversations because we didn't talk all the time. Like we didn't talk. I'm not that child, and I'm not that I don't call all the time, right? So I remember daddy and I having a conversation, and he said, I told Amy you were gonna call. It was late, but I got the call in, right? I told Amy you was gonna call. Or if I missed the call, well, I told Amy you probably was busy and you had stuff you had to do. He was so freaking gracious because he knew that I had a lot going on. And when he came here, he saw it. Like he saw what a day in the life of Dr. V was, right? He saw what Dr. V's life was, not Ron, his daughter, Veronica, but Dr. V, right? And so I'm excited. I'm excited because my dad probably gave me the greatest gift that he could have ever given me. And that was the gift of the slow down. That was the gift of just being able to pause and reflect and really go back and address things. That was the gift of old wounds opening up so that I could really explore them and see where they came from. That was a great gift. And then he gave me the gift of celebrating his life. You all, one of the things that I have been very like, I love my daddy. My daddy was such an amazing man. And the number of lives that he impacted and the number of people that he blessed just being him. I know he understood my journey because he was on the same journey. That's what he did. He made people's lives better. He poured into people. He would sit and talk to people for hours, and they would be like, oh my God, I love sitting and talking to Mr. Norman because he's so wise. And he told me this and he told me that. His wisdom was incredible. The man was just wise, right? And so he would pour into people and he would say, oh, you got a new sister. Oh, where are all these sisters and brothers coming from? Right. But he's had so many people he poured into, and nobody could say a bad thing about him. You know, my mom and dad hadn't been together for years, but my dad was always amazing to my mom, even though my mom acted a fool when I was born, after I was born, and he got married and all of this. There was some foolery. There was some foolery. But my dad was so solid. All of my siblings loved my dad because he treated them like he treated me. Christmas time, they got gifts too. You know, they didn't get what I got, but they got a bag of toys. I promise you, every year, my dad did that, right? Because for him, family was more than just blood. My sisters, who are not biologically my sisters, but they are my sisters, right? My dad loved them like he loved me. And there were things they got from him that I didn't get. Why am I telling you this? God is trying to get you to go back, go to the root of some things, right? So that you can close the volume that you're in and you can go into your new volume. Listen, this is what I can tell you. And I'm just talking about me. I look at my grandchildren and they are my motivation to close the book, to really go back, to do the hard work, to look at what I need to look at, to deal with what I need to deal with, to face what I need to face so that I can close that book and create a new volume where they don't have to experience the stuff that I experienced, so that the generational trauma that has transpired can stop with me, can stop with my children, and my grandchildren won't have to experience it. You see, I look at them, and I was talking to Madison. I was just holding her and looking at her and telling her what I want for her. And I came to a revelation. I grew up thinking it was me against the world. And if you grow up thinking it's you against the world, then you're always going to be in battle. And today I realize it's not me against the world. It's me and the world. Me and the world creating amazing experiences. Me and the world creating incredible opportunities. Me and the world creating a life that gives God glory. Me and the world. The world is not against me. It's working in concert with me because God has given me dominion over the earth. Listen, we have dominion over the earth. So why would it be us against the world? No, no, no. It's us and the world. So let's close this chapter, whatever chapters you need to close. I close 3, boom, boom, boom. And now I'm closing the volume. I'm closing the book. Dr. V, volume 1. Volume 2, I'm excited to see what it's going to be, but expect some changes. Now, I'm always going to be who I am, but expect some changes on the horizon. And I encourage you to find the change in your life. Now, you can either close the chapters and close the books, or you can stay there wondering why you're stuck in the same circle, doing the same things, still in the same place. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I'm tired of cycles repeating in my life. I'm tired of marriages and divorces. I'm tired of, the struggle. Money's flowing, then it's not. Money's flowing, then it's not. Nah, nah, nah. I'm ready for the continuous flow. A life full of unconditional love. It's not love when I get it right. It's love when I'm at my worst and love when I'm at my best. Y'all, let's make a decision to be who God has created us to be, to walk out our purpose and do what it is that God has called us to do. 'Cause I don't know about you, but this next half a century, listen, I'm planning on taking it to the next level. Listen, I'm planning on living till I'm about 100, 105, right? Listen, still kicking, still doing good, still all of that. Listen, my daddy made it to 82. My goal is 105. Let me get to 105, okay? 105, right? Still in my right mind. Still with the use of my limbs, able to walk around and get around. But that's going to require me creating a new volume. Volume 2. It might be a volume 3 along the way. Who knows? I don't know. But I know volume 1, I'm penning the final pages. And then to be continued in volume 2. Let's close the books and the chapters that we need to close so that we can move forward into this next chapter or this next volume, this next book. Y'all, it's worth it. It's worth it. All right, y'all, listen. Share this with someone. Give them some encouragement. Let them know. It ain't over until it's over. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Be absolutely, unequivocally blessed.